Hello everyone. This video is part of my Docker deployment series in the public cloud. In this video, we will demonstrate deploying the sample voting application in the Azure Container Service. Azure Container Service is a managed container offering from the Azure cloud. With Azure Container Service, we have a choice to choose the particular orchestrator. We can choose either Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, or Mesos. For this particular demo, I'm going to use Docker Swarm. And one thing to notice, Azure Container Service helps with the cluster creation and management. In terms of the container management itself, it's left up to the orchestrator. So once we create the cluster with Azure Container Service, then we can use the regular Docker commands if you're going to use Docker Swarm. Another thing to note if you're using Docker Swarm is that Azure Container Service supports the pre-swarm mode. So basically we cannot use the compose v3 format, we have to use the compose v2 format. And another thing is Azure Container Registry integration is available with ACS. In terms of the prerequisites, we need the Azure Cloud account and we need a key pair. So this is the key pair that we need to upload when we create the cluster. Currently, I'm in the Azure the user interface. I've already created an ACS resource group here. So here, we can see all the resources that are created as part of the ACS. So to create a new resource group for this container service, what we can do is we can click New, and here we can search for ACS. And that should pop up the Azure Container Service, so we can select that. So the default deployment model is with Resource Manager, so we can do create. So now it's going to ask a bunch of options with respect to what orchestrator to use. So in this case we're going to use Swarm. So the subscription is your subscription ID that you can choose. From a resource group, so I can normally I can use whatever resource group that is I want to create new. So in this case let me call it as votingapp 1. So once that is done, then we have to give a DNS name prefix. This DNS name prefix is what will be used to SSH into the cluster, as well as the DNS names that will be used for the load balancer itself. So let me just call it as voting 1. This is the credentials for the SSH. So here you can put your particular public key that you want. For the master, this is the master count that we want to have. So once we select the master node details, then we can specify the number of agent nodes. So here I selected the number of agent nodes as 2. So we can select the agent type. So let's look at the the cheapest option we can use. So we'll select that and we click OK. Now this will create the summary of this will create the cluster with one master node and 2 agent nodes. So we already created the votingapp resource group. So this will take like around 5 minutes to create the complete cluster. So in my case I've already created. So we can go to the deployments to get the master DNS name that is needed to access the cluster. So this master FQDN, so this we can use to access the nodes. So I've already done that, so we can go here. Okay, so basically to first access the cluster, what we can do is set the SSH key appropriately. So here, so this is the step. So basically this maps the local port 2375 to the SSH port on the ACS cluster, and then we can put the Docker host 2375. So whatever Docker commands we execute in the local host will be executed in the ACS cluster that we have created. So here we can see that I have set the Docker host and I have done the SSH tunneling. Now if I do a Docker info, what I would see that since this is using the older swarm mode, we would see the swarm agents that are listed here. There are 2 swarm agents because we selected 2 agent nodes. And if you do the Docker version, you can see that it is running the 1703, and this is the voting application Docker Compose file. Please note that the version is 2 here because this is the older swarm mode, and this is pretty much identical in the sense there are the 5 services, and it tells which are the ports that are exposed from each of these services. So to deploy this service, I'm using the Docker Compose. Please note that I'm not using Docker Stack because I'm deploying with the older swarm mode. So here this shows the output, the Docker Compose is successful. Then once I do a Docker PS, and I can see all my running services. To access this service, the vote app and the result app, which have ports exposed from the outside world, what we have to do is go to the swarm agent load balancer and create health probes and load balancer. So we go here. I've already done that. I'll just show it to you. So this is the swarm agent load balancer. So I'm currently in the swarm agent load balancer. So here I've already created 2 health probes, one for 5000 and another for 5001. And in the load balancing rules, I've created 2 load balancer rule and mapped it to the swarm agent pool as well as the health probe. Now to access the service itself, we can look at the public IP address that is created here, which is the swarm agent load balancer IP address, and that is what I have selected here at port 5000 and port 5001, and we are able to access the services. For more details, you can reference the Microsoft Azure Container Service page. Thanks for watching.